My WWE Unforgiven 2008 review. The opening matchup was the ECW Scramble match between defending ECW champion Mark Henry versus Matt Hardy versus The Miz versus Finley versus Chavo Guerrero. Starting off, the first two were Matt Hardy and The Miz. After that, you saw Chavo be the next one. First pinfall came from Chavo pinning Matt Hardy after a frog splash, so he was the temporary champion at the moment. Next pinfall was Matt Hardy pinning Chavo, so he became the temporary champion for the moment after hitting the side effect. Then the next pinfall came when Mark Henry pinned Chavo after the World's Strongest Slam onto him. Then after that, Finley pinned Hardy he pinned Hardy after hitting the air raid crash, Celtic Cross, whatever you want to refer to it as. Then the last 2-3 minutes of the match, Matt Hardy picks up the pinfall onto Miz after the twist of fate. He becomes the new ECW champion. As far as this scramble match, as far as these scramble matches, and definitely this one, comes off better than what I thought it would be. It was actually pretty decent. You saw some good stuff in here with Hardy and Miz. Finley did some good stuff in here. So it was overall, a pretty decent opener. Matt Hardy, like I said, is the new ECW champion. So thankfully, Mark Henry is no longer the champion, and this was a good opener, about 2.5 stars. Then up next was the World Tag Team title match between defending champions Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase Jr. versus Cryme Tyme. This match was good, but the one thing I had a problem with it felt a little slow in some portions, but it was pretty decent. Cryme Tyme was heavily over like they always are. It's a pretty good tag match. I'm glad they're actually putting the tag team titles on the pay-per-view, so they're trying to make the tag titles seem a little prestigious. The way the match ends, you see it looks like Cryme Tyme are going to pick up the victory onto Rhodes and DiBiase because they roll him up, and then you see Ted DiBiase Jr. come in there, reverse the roll up onto I think it was JTG, but reverses it, and then you see Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase retain the titles. Definitely a good way for them to hold on to the title still. I thought it would have been a bad decision if they would have lost it, so definitely glad they kept it. And about a 2-star match. Then up next was Chris Jericho versus Shawn Michaels in an unsanctioned match. And this was very good. You saw a lot of good brawling, a lot of good back and forth action. Just very good stuff. A lot of stiff chair shots. Good use of the weapons of this match. During this match, you see Shawn Michaels. You saw Lance Cade come out here. They beat on Shawn for a little bit. You see Shawn Michaels go against them, beat them both up. Shawn Michaels was in the ring when Lance Cade was in there, had a chair wrapped around his arm, and then it looked like Jericho was going to go up to the top, land on him, and play it off that he broke his arm. Shawn Michaels gets out of that, hits him with the chair, and then Jericho falls from the top rope to a table on the floor. Later on in the match, you see Shawn Michaels hit a elbow from the top rope onto one of the ring announcers' tables when Jericho was placed on top of it, on top of Lance Cade. And just a lot of good stuff in here. The end of the match was the only problem I had with this. This is an unsanctioned match. Anything goes, but I guess, they still have it as the rule. Referees' discretion of the match. The way the match ends, Jericho keeps getting obliterated by punches from Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels keeps repeatedly hitting him with hard punches, and that's the way the match ends. Shawn Michaels wins it by referee stoppage. So it seems like this feud's probably going to continue, which is a good thing. It was a good match. I was expecting it to be a whole lot better, though, but it was pretty decent. I would say, 3 1/4 stars. Like I said, I was expecting a little more from it, but it was pretty good. Then after this, you see the next Scramble match, which was the SmackDown title Scramble match for the WWE title between Jeff Hardy versus Shelton Benjamin versus the Brian Kendricks versus MVP versus Triple H. The first two in this match were Jeff Hardy and Shelton Benjamin. Then the next participant in the match was the Brian Kendricks. After this, you see, during this portion, you see Jeff Hardy pin Brian Kendricks to become the temporary champion. Then Brian Kendricks ends up pinning Hardy after hitting the Kendrick to him. So he looks like he's going to hold on title for a little bit. Triple H comes out there, then pedigrees Pedigree's him. MVP, I think, yeah, MVP's already out there. Triple H was the last one to come out there. Pedigree's Brian Kendricks, so he's the temporary champion at that moment. Triple H then, not Triple H, Hardy then pins MVP after the Twist of Fates. Triple H pins Kendrick again, and then Hardy pins Brian Kendrick. Then you see Triple H, Pedigree, MVP for the end of the match. So it looks like Hardy was holding on to the title. Last few seconds of the match, Triple H, Pedigree's MVP. Pretty good overall scramble match. Out of the scramble matches, was the best one of the evening. 3 1/4 stars. Now, the only rant I got to give about this is Triple H in this match. You know, I'm not one of those people that try to put over Triple H, buries people constantly, but this match just proved it. I mean, if anyone don't think it. Okay, Brian Kendricks, or the Brian Kendricks as I should call him, finally has been getting over with the crowd. He's pretty much been getting, you know, a lot of good heel heat. Actually looks like he's doing good as a character, and he finally gets a main event spot. And what does Triple H do to him? He completely buries him. He gets buried completely in this match. So, you know, now it looks like he's completely out of the main event, probably back into the mid-card, unfortunately. You know, I didn't think he was ready to hold the world title, but I thought they could have done a whole lot better in this match than just completely burying him. That's the only thing about this match I really, really disliked. And, you know, Triple H, you know, Pedigree and MVP to end the match. A lot of people probably hoping that Jeff Hardy would hold on to it. But the way the match ends, Triple H pedigreed him, and Jeff Hardy was, I think, he was at the same time after about the second Triple H was on MVP for the cover. I think you see Jeff Hardy. I think he was penning Brian Kendrick. So you probably see this lead to something saying Jeff Hardy come out there saying, "Look, I had the pinfall too." So I'm pretty much sure at the No Mercy pay-per-view, you'll probably see a Triple H versus Jeff Hardy match. Then after this, you see the Divas match between Maryse versus Michelle McCool. Nothing to talk about. Michelle McCool retains. Piece of shit match like I would expect. Wasn't long, which that was the only good thing about it. 1 star at best. Terrible, terrible match. Then after this, you see it go backstage, and this is when they do a segment with they have CM Punk cut a promo, and you see Randy Orton, Ted DiBiase Jr., Cody Rhodes, and the new member, I guess, that's going to be out there with Priceless, Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase Jr., and Manu, which is Alpha's son. And during the match with the tag titles, he gets involved at the end of that match as well, beating up Cryme Time. That's one thing I did forget about talking about that match. And you see CM Punk get beat up by Randy Orton. They do the whole kick to the head of CM Punk, so he's taken out of the world title match, and there is going to be a replacement. Mike Adamle comes out there, says be a replacement later on for that match, and that's to be named, you know, when the match is happening. A pretty interesting person they threw in there, but I'll get to that when I get to that match. Up next, you see a very, very pointless segment with Big Show coming out here with Vicky Guerrero. He's playing off he should be in the Scramble, one of the Scramble matches. Says, why did he get looked over? And he keeps on doing this big laugh when Undertaker's coming out there. I guess playing off that he thought, you know, he was playing it off that he knew Undertaker was coming out there to destroy Vicky Guerrero. So you see a swerve, and you see him turn on Undertaker. And now I guess he's with Vicky Guerrero or something on the lines of that. So he's now a heel, and I don't know what you'll see now, Undertaker versus Big Show feud. Completely pointless segment. Should have been on SmackDown. Waste of being on the pay-per-view. It's just a whole waste of space for that, pretty much, you know, that women's match to that segment. Pretty much, you know, at least 20, 25 minutes of wasted time on this pay-per-view. Then you had the world title match, the world title scramble match between Batista versus JBL versus Kane versus Rey Mysterio, and the replacement for CM Punk was Chris Jericho. The way this went was it started off with Batista versus JBL. Kane was the next person out there. During this match, you didn't see that many pinfalls, which I kind of liked. I thought there was way too many pinfalls in the SmackDown one, but SmackDown one, as far as the action went and the match-wise, it was a whole lot better. This match was very lackluster. Kane pins JBL first, choke slam, so he's the temporary champion. Then you see Rey Mysterio come out there. Then the next pinfall comes from Batista pinning Kane after a spine buster. And the way this match ends, obviously Jericho's out there. He was the last person to come out there. You see Jericho basically, you know, sneak up the victory and become the new World Heavyweight Champion. You see at the end of this, Obviously, Kane was knocked down still from the spine buster. He was selling that. And Batista and Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio did the springboard Hurricane Rana. Batista reversed it. Looked like he powerbombed him. But Jericho sneaked in the pinfall onto Kane, so he's the new World Heavyweight Champion. Definitely glad Jericho won. Did come out of nowhere. Didn't see that one coming. I was expecting Orton to be the replacement because I was expecting after that whole segment and everything. Especially, it looked like Orton wasn't that injured tonight. At least he wasn't in his sling in this pay-per-view. So definitely looks like he'll be coming back very soon. This match I felt was very lackluster. I'm glad Jericho won, but it wasn't a good main event for the pay-per-view. About 2 3/4 stars. It would have probably been better to have the SmackDown Scramble match as the main event. Overall, I would say this is a decent pay-per-view. It's not a pay-per-view I would say go out your way to see, but it was pretty decent overall. Raw against pay-per-view, about a 6.75, and yeah, that's it. Peace.